Disc golf has a major problem, and we're not just talking the pixelated live coverage. What's up, Degenerates? I'm Jefferson. Alongside me, as always, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese, and we're the disc golf world.
Dude, you're just shots fired right off of the first line, bro.
Well,
I
I shortened it. It was going to be 3 things at first, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to, that's too long. Let's get into this episode.
Nice, let's roll.
So we're going to jump into the problem thing, so there's no clickbait or nothing like that, is a little pun I had there with the major capitalized, because we're talking about majors in disc golf, and an interesting topic I want to clarify, even though no one will hear this part. I don't have like a side on the topic.
You know what's going on? Wait. You know what's gonna get like really weird or good with the thought process? It was like, hey guys, I want you to hear me say this out loud first, so none of you believe this later in case I say some weird shit later.
No, it's not even that. It's just I think that it's an interesting conversation to be had of majors. When you look back, like someone like Paul Macbeth, who has the Aussie Open, the Japan Open, there's other majors back in the early 2010s era where there wasn't a whole lot of people in the field. When we look at the amount of 1,000 rated players in there, it's like, do I consider that the same, like, equivalent to what it is now? And even Champions Cup right now gets talked down upon because it was introduced in like 2022. It's getting moved around. It's doing all sorts of weirdness, so people don't even consider that a full-on major, as much as it is in every conversation and whatever. But
I feel like that's faded. Like the first year or two, it was kind of like, what is this? You know what I mean? But I feel like it's somewhat faded, which is kind of interesting because it's like also like, in theory, kind of gotten worse as it's like traveled. Like, but that talk has faded, or at least people are more comfortable with it. I feel. I don't know. I feel like there's less vocal.
I feel like you have two sides. Maybe I'm wrong on the subject, but I feel like newer disc golfers that were introduced in that era, they don't know better. That's just what they're. But the OG people, who again have seen the eras of plenty of stuff, and I know in 2022 the whole idea was to bring 4 majors, 4 consistent, like every year. That's why the European Open became an every year event besides an every other. But now we have the festival jumping in, so it's not even the same 4. And now it's just more confusing to me.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, they kind of try to steal the golf bit, like, you know what I mean? Like, where our professional game loves to dip their toes in a little too much. So I don't mind the addition of the 4th major. I think it was embraced. I think 3 was kind of weird. And it was just, it's still in its infancy. It doesn't have like the drama, especially now it's moving courses and everything. But you know, there was before the moves, there were plenty of like memorable performances. You had IROB, you had the then Tatar like meltdown, daughter call, like so there was plenty of like storylines and things of that nature. But like it makes sense. And now with the European Festival, I think like everything has worked like perfectly as far as like where disc golf is at this point. The embracement by the nation, and then like also a lot of question marks surrounding the beast and everything along those lines. So like I think it kind of like is filling a void that's left there, because it's got some large support, and I think like you still can have some other options to go from there. But like it's gonna be weird. Like even this year, the major, I granted it has worlds, but it's gonna be weird not having.
Yeah, because we're so ingrained to that being what it has been.
No, and it's that one. And again, why is it? Because you have historic moments. You got storylines. You got epic showdowns with Paul, Ricky, Eagle, Paul. Like, you know what I mean? You have those moments that you can just be like, yeah, this is great. The AB moment. Like, so like there's plenty. And I do agree, like when we don't have history, but a lot of it is like, and that's not even that like much of a history. That's still modern disc golf era. But why is it? Why do we know it so well? Because it's covered. There's film. There's storylines that you're able to witness. The old disc golf doesn't. That's all lost. So like you have to build that. And I think Champions Cup is in its infancy on that. But like with the moves, until it gets settled, because I don't like the idea of having a moving world and a moving major.
Well, the whole point eventually is just you have it at WR Jackson, right? That just keeps getting postponed due to
but
natural
man,
causes.
I don't even know. Like I've heard like rumors of like they're talking about moving the entire center.
To where?
Like because it's that bad. They got hit so hard with the hurricane and stuff. Like I've heard like Granted, it's just talk, but like I don't know if that's possible like
Yeah.
anytime soon. Especially like since what they already got next year lined up. And I'm sure they're taking bids on the following. So
Damn. Or does it just stay at New London?
it could also, I'm sure the
Or is
PDGA would absolutely love that. And that's sorry, that's just my candidness. I wouldn't. I think PDGA wouldn't mind it there. I kind of like the idea of like at the center because at least like everything surrounded the center and like what that's again the history was there, right? Like the center's there, the Hall of Fame's there, like all that stuff's there.
But right now, though, you think Champions Cup has kind of found its way into the sport?
It's not. No, it's not like embraced, but at least it's like less like hated on. Now you still have the old heads that like, no, this is dumb.
Wait, I don't think it helps its identity where we're going to Swenson. We're going away from.
This is like the worst.
Yeah,
this is the worst year for it. Like, you know what I mean? And like, and again, like, I know they said it in. All right. I know they said it in the announcements. I know that they've broadcasted that, but I feel like they only broadcast that because that's what the community was saying. They felt that this major was wooded, and because of where it was at.
Oh yeah, I don't think they ever said that it was supposed
never
to be.
their
I
intention.
agree.
Yeah, never their intentions. They're looking for the best person to run the events and the best location for the event. Like that's what they're looking for.
But then,
like,
so this is where my overall calling this a major problem is.
Sure.
Is how is this any different than an Elite Plus event? You got 4 rounds. It's just a random place. We're just told, hey, you know what? This is better. This is more extreme. This is supposed to be more significant. Where again, you're just throwing a random play. Like why? To me, it makes no sense why someone would pride this over an MVP win, where it has the history. The course is, in my opinion, significantly harder. It just shows the more grueling aspects of disc golf, I would say, in what kind of fits the category of what a major too of like this is the style of golf that we're supposed to be putting on a pedestal, where we just go we just call it something good because we're told it is.
No, that's fair because like USDGC, you have to qualify. So
Mhm.
there's a level of like this is the premier talent. Worlds obviously has the largest field, so that you have to overcome. And then there's the European Open is a separate of its own because it's over in Europe. You have to travel, or the U.S. is travel, but that does deserve its own major over there with the
For sure.
the amount of disc golf. And so yeah, Champions Cup's there because it is interesting that you say that because there is plenty of history for other events, and in the grand scheme of things, the field's not changing really, minimally. Like so, the field's minimally changing. And it's literally a feather in the cap as far as like, yeah, I won a major.
Yeah.
Like nothing separates it. Like the same field from MCO.
That's what I'm saying. It's basically the same event. At least when you talk to me about Worlds, it's 5 rounds. USDGC,
You're really kind of
it's
being
the-
a jag though by being like, what's the difference between a plus? You could have went with like a playoff and like. I think a lot more. I think a lot more people would be a lot more willing to like understand and be like, yeah, the playoffs are good because now you're talking about MVP, you're talking about Green Mountain, you know what I mean? You're talking about like huge venues of our sport, right? When you say plus, you're talking Austin, Waco, whatever that decision.
Austin's whatever. But what about the Northwest Championship this year? Where those courses are bangers. That's an Elite Plus. There's Worlds there before.
No, fair. I get it. I'm just saying it's like. Yeah,
I'm just like on the that it is though. Like it literally is the same. Is it not? Like it's 4 rounds at said course. This one is not even 2 courses.
PDGA's there. That's the difference.
Sitting
like
there,
the staff
like chilling.
Yeah, the staff
hanging
there.
out. Like,
yeah, the staff's there is kind of the main bit. Like man, it's also like the payday's not even that grand of a difference either. Like it used to be like majors had a larger payday, but now that's kind of eroded with some of these stops. So. I get it. I understand where you're going, and I don't know. Yeah, it would be interesting to see like what people's opinions are there because I have heard it like, and everybody loves to like just trash the like random majors of the like. I don't think Japan was ever a major. But
yeah, it was
like,
Japan Open was it? I feel like it was.
I feel like that's been argued and like checked somewhere
Uh-huh.
else that I've watched. But like,
Cool.
but people will
Online.
like make like the Kona Peace Day and
Mhm.
like they'll make references to those and be like, yeah, nobody was there, and how is that a major? And I think that's also why it's kind of carried over to Champions Cup. But you're right, as far as like player field, pay, amount, course time, it's a regular stop for the normal pros. The only thing that matters is their bonus if they win this one.
That's true. That is, I would
that's
say, something.
for the people playing the event. There is a difference. I think the ones consuming it, no, I'll say that.
I feel like it's hard too for me to explain a maybe non-avid disc golf fan that randomly like why, like again, to explain the differences, and that's what bothers me because when we do content like this, it's trying to like draw up the stories, and I'm trying to hype things up, and I'm trying to make it a grand event, but I can't.
No, and that's kind of our job, right? It's to kind of like overinflate this to what it is. I will say, at least this year, like the fact that it's kind of like at the quarter point of the year, I think helps. Like the timing of it, like because there's also like you get the funky like when it was in Utah, you got the Worlds in the middle of the season, like that.
Yeah.
Like, so there's like a lot of weird things that can happen with the schedule, and that's why a lot of the stuff is dedicated out east. But like, I don't know. I'm happy it's a major, and I'm happy that California got one. In all honesty, as much as this course is going to get like ripped to shreds on the like channels,
Probably
like it always. I really don't think this course is nearly as bad as everyone makes it out to be. But with a year of not seeing Emporia, it might get like the brunt of the fucking complaints. It really might. Like, am I excited for this week and like being like, oh, it's Champions Cup, oh, it's President's Cup, oh, it's this? No, I'm just excited there's disc golf this week from it being off, more so than like it's a major. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it means that we have to cover more stuff for like just what we do, but it like, yeah, it's another stop. So
I guess I'm attaching President's Cup to it every year. Like, that's doing something, at least trying to do something.
Yeah, I think PDGA's moves are in the right directions now with Champions Cup being attached. That does help, but even then, it's not. It's going to be off week on week because President it changes from Europe to U.S. So like, so it's only every other Champions
True, that's
Cup.
also true.
So like, I don't know if they can find a home spot and like really sell it, and then hopefully have some good tournaments. Now, if you are gonna move it, like, why would you not? Like, I immediately think MVP.
I feel like MVP deserves more prestige to it.
Yeah,
But I don't know if they want it. I don't know if Steve Dodge really, because when you allow the PDGA to come in, I think they do want to.
You really
have
push some of that power. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But like if you're talking like history, like something that really can get defined and like you could pitch in a 30-second intro of like, hey, this is why this is a major, everyone would get behind it. More so than like I think New London. The foreshadowing on New London, I think, is like a matter of time. I think like those moves have already like lined up in a way to like, if you're not paying attention, you're just not looking at the writing on the wall. So the fact that like you're getting huge tournaments without courses being built, I understand that what the team has done and they've proven they have a track record. But when you're getting that, you're establishing you want to be part of that community. It is also interesting how it's kind of shit because that was once Charlotte. Now that's kind of dissipated.
And nothing really is in Charlotte. I know you have USDGC that's not too far away, but that is a major hub of the sport.
Oh yeah,
there's so many disc golfers there. Well, they have the match play there now, right?
Yeah.
So I guess they got that.
yeah.
That'd be dope.
I suppose.
I hope. Hopefully the community pops out. Maybe that's what their thought process was.
Yeah, but man, are you excited about President's Cup, or is it just is that another one? Like, are we force feeding President's Cup? Like, all right, your argument with that being a major, certainly understandable, and I can listen to it. Then you should be applying that to President's Cup.
What I mean,
it's only 12 years old. It's not like there's not much. There hasn't been competition among it. Why is that viewed or presented in a way as something being bigger than it actually is? Also,
I think that they like the concepts. They're trying to run it. So
Yeah.
they're just like trying to become something. That one makes sense though. You
Golf.
have see, I know nothing about professional golf.
No,
So
yeah,
okay.
it's a tie-in to.
So yeah, maybe just biting
golf
that. But I mean,
event,
we have such a European presence. It makes sense. It's like we have so many. Like you hear the names every week. Some of the best players in the world are from Europe. So it's cool to see that being showcased.
Sure, now, but like 12 years ago when there was like 3.
Oh, you wanted to get something.
It was like Naibo and like,
let's be real. Some European disc golfers were talking some shit, and American were like, "Hey, we'll run it."
Like it was an incredible, like as far as what like UC using it and building it and like promoting the game in Europe and having it do that, I think it did great. But I don't know if like the movement of it and what PDGA intends to do with it. I don't know if the community is going to be on board with that per se to what was there. Like you get you know what I mean? Like when you knew it was UC and you knew what you were getting.
Is this the first one not with UC?
I think he's there, but I don't know.
I mean, I'm sure he's got his hands on it.
No, he's the captain, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the coach. Yeah. But yeah, I think it is kind of officially the first one, but he's the captain. So, but yeah, that's another one where it's like, I don't know how you can, like, man, that's the problem with our sport in general. Like, how can you make this larger? And everyone wants to talk about like pulling aspects of like other pro sports and doing this when it's like, man, just make the best disc golf stuff you can make and like speak on the storyline, speak on the history, and then try to make it and try to build it from there. And I don't know. We haven't done a good enough job at that thus far.
Yeah. It sucks because we really don't have history like to look back upon. Like now, like a decade, 20 years, 25 years later, we'll have all this footage to like recall things, bring up things, like show the history. But now it's like I can't go back and show you a Ken Climo, like anything really. I mean, there's the certain things on YouTube and DVDs and stuff, but it's hard for me to like tell the story of anybody like a long period. Because that's a video I would love to do on our channel too. Is like tell a full length history of someone like Ken Climo. But like, how can I do that? I can't go watch back all those tournaments. I can't see the highlights. Like it's not there.
Yeah, there's no. Like,
I can't go back to the first President's Cup and watch
there's
it to
no
know
PDGA
anything.
live to look at like circle 2 putts. There wasn't stats. There wasn't this.
So I understand it's harder to tell the stories. Now I feel like we need to do our best job now relaying as much information out there so looking back we can do that. And I don't even know if
but in a way, man, it's even better because now it's like the lore. Like you get what I'm saying? Now it's like you're passing on stories verbally amongst people who were there and witnessed it. And like, granted, everyone knows it's embellished, but it's going to be, that's part of the lore of the game. Like, and I think like that would help and it would be neat. But yeah, there's like, dude, there's so much like cool stuff that we just missed. Like, and then there's cooler stuff that like we're like taken off a tour and not presenting it. Like De La, like it's a shame De La has the history that it has and the niche-y names and like the stories that are attached and like that's not being told.
I hope that's a bridge that eventually comes together and can figure itself out. I would love to, I don't know if they run Masters Cup there, I think every year still. I don't know if the names still pop out, but I would love for us to go down there and I would have Greg Barsby sit down and tell us that roller race story, stuff like that, where hopefully people even get the reference. But the longer you go in the sport, all that lore, all those stories that are just word of mouth get lost. And it even like there's so much of that we don't know, the masses don't know. Like, there's so much untold stuff because of you had to be there for it. You had to have heard it from someone in the area or be blessed to have somehow got it from a third hand.
And man, like you and I for sure know at times, like pros aren't the most great at sharing.
No, yeah.
You know what
I feel like there's also like a part of it, like they don't know how to share or who to share it with because it's like you lived it, you experienced it. The guys that you're around know exactly.
Yeah, that's your everyday, and that's like so. Like when we were like on the road and like we were immersed in it, and it was just every day, and you had these storylines, you had what was going on, you had what was being said, and then like to be part of it, it's kind of interesting. But like when you're not, or you're outside of it, like it's sharing that. It's like explaining that and doing it in a way. It's difficult because like especially when you're trying to explain some of this stuff to like people who've never been to an event, like they're or only seen it on TV, and it's like hard to explain of like, hey, this is like an insane shot. This is this. Like, there's so much stuff. Like, yeah, it's kind of. I hope we can get there. I don't know if we can. I don't. As bad as it sounds, I think like modern disc golf is different. Like everybody can look back. Everybody, you know what I mean? You talk about Paul's 18 under, you have clips of it. You talk about this, you're able to show it, and like you're able to present those huge moments. And like there is a thing like, and it's great for Climo to get out of Innova to present with a company that can help promote them. But it's like we should be providing that level of promotion to all the olds of the game, like all the history of the game, and let them present it and like kind of tell the meaningness of this event and like, or a event or a stop. But yeah, I'm rooting for the best of Champions Cup. I think it's going to be a well-run event, but I'm worried.
Well, obviously, before we go into all of that stuff, because we'll give our predictions of Champions Cup towards the end, I want to talk about another major problem possibly that I know that I talked to Dumpster Fire earlier, and I wanted to gauge his opinion because he was fired up about this, and maybe I'm more relaxed on this topic in general, and I know maybe this is something that you has some passion behind.
Okay.
Is Estonia was granted however many majors the 2029 World Championship on a course that has not been seen yet, correct?
True.
And this is a
second course that has not been seen yet.
And the PDGA now has broken their rules of World's bid process or whatever. So they have now set a precedent. And not only that, but what I kind of do appreciate a little bit, and I do want to acknowledge, is Doug Bierkis, the president of the PDGA, I believe that's the position, came out and acknowledged, like, hey, we broke the rules.
Yes.
But there needs to be, at a moment like this, needs to be broken sometimes because look at the opportunity.
Yes.
How do you feel about all that? I know you made a Twig video, but more in
So I will say this, and this is probably where Dumpster Fire is going. What seems really weird about this and what is concerning is what were these negotiations like? This definitely seems like backroom negotiations. The ones in the know or the ones in the know what's agreed upon is this, and this, and how that presents to people who want future worlds. Is that the avenue that they have to kind of go to? Do they have to circumvent this process, this bid process, the proposal, everything along those lines? That is what's scary about this move. Now, can I think that and agree with that, and it makes me nervous, but still think this is probably what's best for the game, the expansion of the sport in Europe and all that? Yes. They're separate, but this is nerve-wracking. It's a lot of control and a lot of power and a lot of authority for that stop. Now, the things that make me a little less worried is I know it's going to be financially supported
by the government.
Yeah, by the government. I think they're going to be able to get big name sponsors. They're going to be able to kind of do everything along those lines. But yeah, it's nerve-wracking. And to be able to like acknowledge it and say it, and like, it's better than like faking a bid process. I will say that, but if you're going to do it, then get rid of the bid process altogether and say, hey, we're going to actively engage with stops that we think.
Would you be mad about that?
If you're going to do that, I would say I would want you to almost like, kind of like with professional sports, when a coach is fired, you hire somebody to give you like prospects. I don't want PDGA coming up with their own prospects. Okay. I want you to hire somebody and be like, hey, you're in charge of my 2026 runs. Give me X number. All right, then I want a separate person. I want you to work on 2027. Okay. I want you to. So now you're pitching two communities. You're pitching two TDs and saying, "Hey, you're one of my targets for 2027. If you guys want it, I can call somebody else. If you don't, you tell me. You present a pitch to me what you can get together in 2-3 years. Yeah, now I'm on board with that. If it's just PDGA and their people and their connections and who they like to assign stuff constantly to, then I start getting nervous. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, as much as they say that's not a factor, it is a factor. There's, you know what I mean? There's bias there, whether you think it or not. And it's obvious with where our majors are going to now. They're going to established people that have done it before, or are attached to the Pro Tour. It's so, you know what I mean? It's kind of gone that way. And the fact that Estonia has been able to do this, that the way that they have, does show they at least had enough negotiating power to have PDGA come to the table after that bid.
Mm.
And man, the other weird thing is like the other thing that I think is equally as frustrating is Burke is acknowledging that they probably had a good enough bid to win. And so now your bid process is not your, and I understand there's other factors than just taking the best.
Yeah.
And I get their argument of I don't want Worlds in back-to-back Europe. Everyone's going to shit, right? But at the same process, like, what's the point of taking bids if you're not going to take the best fucking bid every year? Like, I got more upset about that than, like, the other stuff where it's like, hey, yeah, they had a great bid and they could have won, but we felt more comfortable giving it to D-Glow because we didn't want it 2 years in a row. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you say that now you've devalued D-Glow, and like, you get what I'm saying? Like, by doing that type of like statement and like things of that nature, that bothered me a little bit more than what you're saying. But yeah, Dumpster's got a legit argument. There's, and I said it in the video, there's a lot to be scared. And I think everybody, the only thing they're scared about is like, is it going to be a cool course?
I feel like that's the number one.
Yeah,
concern.
that's what everyone's like. This course didn't play well or wasn't viewed well, and like that's everyone's course. And for me, that's the least of my worries. That like, there's legitimate. But if you're telling me you got a wood property that you can do something with, or you can have something even cooler and being on the presidential palace park grounds and like do stuff there, like I think you find a way. You find a way.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got like how many? 4 years to do it? Like, come on.
Yeah, you have plenty of time to
yeah.
build something.
So like, I'm not worried about that. I'm more worried that I forget their name, but it's like Team Estonia something. Like them being as attached to the PDGA in this way that would be like concerning. Man, I'm just thinking of like other stops in Europe. Like you got other major hitters like Krokol. You know what I mean? Like. Part of me is looking like, hey, what do I need to do?
I get you.
Like, so that's I get it, but they're committed to making a second course. They're committed to putting money behind it.
It seems like the whole country is
Yeah.
fully behind. Disc golf
and that's why, like, when I say like, do I have issues? Yes. Do I think it's the best for disc golf? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it's going to help the game. I think it's going to help further explode disc golf in Europe and Estonia. And like, it's going to be a hub. It's going to be huge. So I think it's kind of cool, but like, yeah, it's scary as shit. like also like, man, don't you like, and because you know the money's attached to it, doesn't part of you like also question like what kickback was there? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard not to think that.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, like
that's why I asked Dumpster. I was like, for sure thought they got money somehow for it. Like, why not?
Yeah, like, hey, we're gonna give you like, it feels like, hey, we're gonna give you this type of donation to this, and like, you know what I mean?
I don't think the PDGA would be wanting to turn down money right now.
Where's the PDGA Europe headquartered at? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
Soon to be Estonia.
Well, I know like Innova's in Estonia. Innova Europe.
Oh, really?
Estonia. Parnu. Yeah.
Oh.
So like obviously like and Innova's made like huge investments into their Europe, and the fact that they chose Estonia, like
they knew something.
Yeah, right. Like there's reasons why the factories are in the U.S. now, and that's because that's where they were popular, like the biggest communities were. So like, kind of makes sense. But yeah, it's interesting. It is like the weird. I'm glad you brought it up because it is the weird fucking like unspoken thing about it. Like nobody, I don't think enough of the other like people who are doing the quote unquote like disc golf professional content is really going to say the out loud part of like, hey, this is a bold move and it's kind of controversial. It is very like, as much as people hate us saying it's controversial, tell me like being awarded this many majors without an official bid process is not controversial to the norms of what PDGA has done for years.
Yeah.
Like to ignore that, just because it's financially supported and it's going to be a big event, I think is a little worrisome.
Yeah, and Dumpster was trying to explain to me the precedent that's now being set with all of that. And I understand that. Not a good look. Again, I wanted to, acknowledging it, though, makes me feel a little bit better about it. Like, hey, I know we broke the rules, but come on.
Yeah.
Like, this opportunity's too big to say no to, so I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
And
that is not old PDGA.
No, exactly.
Yeah, like that would not be like, it would be like, yeah, we did it.
That's
done.
what makes me feel
never
a little
talk
bit
about
safer
it.
about
Like,
it. Yeah.
break it down to be able to like actually address like, hey, I know we're gonna become that about this, and I know people are gonna say this, and that's just like we said, that's just acknowledging what modern disc golf is. You have Reddits, you have YouTube channels, you know it's gonna be discussed, and to be able to kind of have all that at this point, you have to acknowledge it. So you have to bring it up, and like I think at the very least, the PDGA has kind of done that, and for them to do it in this one. And they kind of really didn't do it when they did the New London.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they did a better job of it. I really do. But you also had a Worlds attached, so you kind of had to hit the elephant in the room. Because, man, we've been in contact with people who've told us about other bids and, like, been part of the bidding process and how they didn't view it as, like, fair as possible. And now you have this. And we're talking that was a few years ago, and now you have this where it's like it's out the door. So you've basically in this release you've acknowledged that the bid process was flawed in the first place by saying you're not taking the best bids. And then you open the window to like, hey, is this kosher? Is this up in front? Like, and it feels that way, but then it totally doesn't.
What's new? It's disc golf.
That's fucking been. That's the sad part. That's been around forever. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that. And like when we say it out loud, it's like because it also very rarely has been said out loud. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like they're like. I think a lot of people will just be like, "Oh, you're just negative," and it's like, no, this is weird when you really think about it. Like,
definitely
4 majors, like. In a world, right? Yeah. Is it 4?
They have one every year until 2029 except 2027. And that's an Elite Series event instead. So they'll have an event up until 2029.
I wonder where it's going to be in 2027.
Uh-huh.
You know PDGA knows.
Well, yeah.
You know they know already. I wonder when that one's going to come out. Croco?
I'm down. Number one course in the world.
I hope. Croco.
We'll get an invite to that one.
Croco
Shout out Croco peeps.
I would. That's what I'm rooting for. Croco. But I don't know if it's got 2. I don't know about a second course.
That's number 1, dude. You got it 4 days. Fuck it.
It's not Worlds, right? I guess you could do it for a major.
Yeah, why not? We're doing it.
You did it for the
We're
Beast
doing it right now.
For how long?
Doing it at Swenson 4 days.
True.
All right. Wrap up this podcast. We're going to be talking back about Champions Cup.
Let's do
it. I want to first, who do you have winning? Who's the gut reaction?
Gut says Gannon.
That's
Heart
goes.
Yeah.
I
Heart.
Kansas City. Whew. This is a style
4 days. Come on, bro.
I do like
4 Gannon in 4 days is just Heart. Vinny and Simon have played this course well. I would like to see.
I was thinking Vinny as well. I'm going to ride the Macbeth hot train. He's been playing pretty much every tournament well. I think this course suits up for him. A little mistakes, too. The mistakes you make here aren't as big because you're not really kicking off into bad positions, and the scramble is easy. So as long as he can start it off early.
It's funny that you say, going back to like what you led off, we should have brought up the fact that like people like throw around like Macbeth doesn't have a Grand Slam because he's never won Champions Cup, which is just dumb. Like there's people that say that.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have the festival either.
Yeah, but it's just that's
he doesn't
dumb.
have the career Grand Slam, is what they say.
Yeah, the career Grand Slam.
He has got that 1 year, but that has 5.
But when you get a Grand Slam in a calendar year, and then you're saying out loud you don't have a career Grand Slam, people who want to try to say that out loud is just like, hey, that's kind of silly.
It is, because I think of all the majors that he has, it'll never exist anymore. Yeah. Like, how can Gannon not get their career? Like, he only has to win 4, 5 technically with the festival.
Yeah,
that's not fair.
But yeah, so Vinny, Simon would be dope.
You think Ricky can do it after all this time? New bag? Is he happy if he wins Champions Cup? I mean, obviously, but
Yeah, man. Yeah, Ricky's happy to like just hit the course every day. Like,
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Like
That's
that's. But yeah, I think Ricky would take it. But I don't know if this. I don't know, man. Part of me thinks like this course should play to Ricky's strengths, but I don't know if it necessarily will. The other one, you got some other interesting. Like you got Antala, who's probably been one of the best on the year. He's coming off of a break. Lot's coming off of a break. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
like,
but we both know Lot's winning.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I believe so. You gave Allen
I,
the
man,
edge, though.
I said at the beginning of the year, I thought Lot's gonna do the Grand Slam in a year again.
Grand Slam.
Yeah, I really do. Said that at the start. I'm rocking to it at least till after this week. So, like,
If she can get 2 career grand or season Grand Slam, she's the GOAT.
Ooh, okay. And her third worlds. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're throwing down.
You're that dominant over the competition.
Dude, in a contract year too.
She get paid. No one can match Latitude. So whatever.
You want to know who else is from Parnu? I'm not like trying to like hint at anything here, but who's from Parnu?
I don't know.
Kristen Lott?
Oh no, she's from the same country.
Estonia, Parnu, city of
I see.
Parnu, where
But they've been there though.
Innova
But they've been there though.
is gonna be.
It's going to be there.
I think it just started. Like it's like I think it's like within the first year. Yeah.
No way she does that.
Man,
that would be the most.
I'm only
insane-
like, dude, like, don't get me wrong, it's far fetched, and I'm like teasing it, but it's a soft week, guys. It's a soft week. But
Could you imagine that though? All this Innova getting dogged every year, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Yeah, boom!" In your face.
if there was somebody to do it, I think Kristen Lott is the person to do it. Dude, stacking her with Salonen, Blumroos, like.
You win, bro. You win. You are the choice of champions at that point.
It could. I don't know if they're willing to pay because they've been a little bit more.
Yeah,
about
maybe they're like, we didn't pay anyone ever. Now we saved all this money up, and here we go. It's game time, baby.
Yeah.
Kristen Destroyers, dude.
Oh.
You know how many they sell a million?
Yeah, they would go. Yeah. Now I also don't think like Latitude's got to throw the bag. Like,
Yeah,
This
they have billions, bro. They ain't letting that go. You're an idiot if you let that go.
Yeah, like if House of Disc should already be in negotiations if they already not. They probably should have tried to lock her up in the off season.
Yeah, before
before you even got into
before you could even play.
And if you're Kristen, like, why wouldn't you also like? I want to kind of like now that you got. So here's the other thing that I'll sprinkle some other things. Right, we got 2029. I will care to wager Kristen's next contract will end in 2029. And it will coincide with that world.
That makes sense.
So I think that will be her next.
You did say she was going to retire.
Yeah, I hinted, but like I think this, like this world championship and all this, I think it puts like a block on what Kristen wants to do in disc golf. And so I think her next contract's going to go through 2029. Now, do I really believe she moves? I don't know. I think it's going to become a money game. But it's interesting to just speculate. But
I think if she gets enough money to move, she wouldn't be afraid to move. Especially what you're saying. If Innova is there, that makes so much more sense for her.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. Can anyone offer a bigger bag than House of Disc? And I don't think so. If they want to keep her, they can keep her.
Yeah, at this point, like, who are you? I know as silly as it's going to sound, like, to like lump her in the mill a year. But like, as far as marketability, what she sells, who she's sponsored by, like what you can use and promote, like I understand the market is nowhere near what it was, but it should be up there. It should.
Well, she's one of the few people in the game that can move the needle, like for real. She got Nike clothes, man. Like people are buying her stuff.
Nobody would argue that Kristen should garner a better contract than what IROB just got, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
Isn't she right? Oh, is his contract public? Is this contract?
Wasn't it like supposed to be like over 200 or like he made it enough to where he kind of said what it was.
I thought it was 175.
Maybe it was 175.
Okay.
I thought it was near 200.
And she's getting
maybe
more
I was
than
thinking
that
like
right now, right?
discs and stuff like that. I was gonna hit over 200.
Yeah.
No, she was she had the same deal as
100K a
Kona.
year. 100K a year.
Yeah, like I think she like either got the same or just beat Kona.
Okay, interesting.
So that's another play that'll at least happen this offseason. She might be like the only thing we talk about this entire offseason.
There's not a whole bunch of them. We need
There's like a lot of those
some
big
contracts need to get
names.
broken.
Yeah, a lot of there's some big names that are all like kind of signed on multi-year. So
Yeah.
but it will be interesting to see. But yeah, like I feel like I think those are kind of the things that are play that like people aren't thinking of now. But her window, what her like, yeah, I'll be shocked if she goes anywhere signed, but beyond 2029. That's just me.
Interesting. Do you have anything else to say about Champions Cup?
So dark horse candidates. Everyone's gonna throw out Goose just because of how well he's done there. But trying to think of who else has done.
Gavin Rathbun. Feed the hot hand, baby.
That would be sick. How come I feel like is Sexton playing?
I heard he's coming back in May.
I feel like he played it. He had a good event there that one year, but Macbeth would be the sickest story. Like,
Macbeth winning is good for disc golf.
Like, is the Macbeth winning another major bigger than Simon?
Yeah, for sure. I think.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. And Vinny?
I think Macbeth is the biggest person that could win, possibly for like a story. I think if he wins the video that we can pull, I think that he comes out, and the best part about Paul is he's petty as hell. He's got receipts. He'll have a post.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
He'll call some people out. It'll be so he'll figure out his damn fucking Twitter password just so he can tweet.
Bro,
like,
yeah. Hey, Paul, if you're listening to this, you need to go full in. Like, if you win, you need to be like, you guys all said I was washed.
Yeah, for real.
You guys all said this. This is what I heard. You didn't acknowledge what I've been doing all year, and now I won.
What I hope he does is he responds back to that Jeff Spring tweet where he was talking about not having a career Grand Slam, and I hope he says something so I can then retweet and be like, "You don't got a festival though." That'd be funny.
Sucks to be you.
But I think him winning would be the absolute biggest thing to happen. It would be really cool too if you get like another showdown that we got between Gannon and Ricky Paul.
Can you imagine like those Simon with his vlogs? Like, oh, come on.
It would be fire.
That, like him finally winning a major with a vlog camera.
You're having it all behind the scenes. That would be sick.
Like that would be wild.
Even Ricky'd be a good story too. Not winning a major.
I think so. Yeah, I would love the Kristen Hanley battle. I wouldn't mind that. Just
you need that. I think in the FPO, you can't have Kristen.
You need it this week. Do you think you absolutely need it this week or at some point this year?
I just don't think, for sure, some point this year. But don't you think fans are gonna just be like, "The Christian's back. She's the best ever. She would have beat Holland last week. See if she just walks it in."
Yeah, I get it.
I hate those conversations.
Yeah, it would help if it's this week. It would. Now's the time to get her, like coming off a break. You know what I mean? Now's the time to go get it. And you're probably playing your best if you're Holland.
For sure.
So yeah, it would be. There's some interesting storyline, but yeah, isn't this also like a forehand course? Power forehand,
Possibly.
a little AB.
AB. I don't know. 4 days.
Hey, are you also ready for like the one day Eagle just goes bananas and everyone says he's back? It'll probably be like most likely day 2.
I'm sure. Looking forward to it.
Dude, like
every time.
There's like the Eagle like on a 4-day event will like have the hot round for the week. Like almost like
you think so?
Yeah. He's done it at Worlds. He's done it at like remember like man, he just always has like a weird, like just insane round. So when it comes to a major.
Yeah.
No, that's all I got.
And that's all we got for this week. Champions Cup, first major of the season. Make sure to tune in. We'll have a Monday recap. So.
He's trying to make it exciting after just being like, it's nothing.
I'm just trying to fucking get out of the video. That's all I'm trying to do, man. I'm trying to get in and out. We've already been here for way too long. See you next one.